Hello and welcome back to the Portsmouth Basketball Podcast. I'm your co-host Mark.
I am Paul. Hello.
We've got another guest.
Mark, we have a fantastic guest today.
How fantastic is this guest?
I'm excited by this. This is
Keep it clean.
someone who I have loved to watch play and love to play basketball with as well.
You've loved to watch him play and play basketball. Good
Yeah.
for you.
I phrased that very carefully.
Mm-hmm.
We talked with Andy Rowlands and longevity of the game. This guy is up there as well. Shall I introduce our guest?
Do it.
Oh shit, Mark! I've just realised I can't remember what I'm supposed to be doing with this.
Press the yellow button. Other side.
Wow. Yeah, now stand and cheer for former Portsmouth smuggler, small forward, number 12, Steve Davison.
Well, that was a very kind introduction. Thank you very much.
Steve, welcome, mate.
Thank
Welcome.
you for having me.
I mean, look, Mark, going straight into it here. Steve has played for Solent Stars, Portsmouth Smugglers, Solent Kestrels. He played in the States. He's played with icons of the game like Alan Cunningham, stuff like that. I mean, guests don't get better than this, and that's why I'm excited Steve's here today.
Are you excited, Steve?
I'm very excited to be here. Very excited to be part of this. And I don't know if anyone's done it yet because I haven't heard any of the other podcasts, but you guys need
We're holding them back.
a round of applause yourselves for raising the awareness of the game, raising the profile of the game locally.
We've got to give ourselves a round of applause, Mark. Yeah.
No, that's good. I appreciate it. It's nice to be appreciated in our time. Like Picasso.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I met Steve back in, I want to say 92, 93, 94, when we were playing together for, I think, South East Hampshire and then Hampshire. So that's how I kind of got
Brett
him.
Caldwell, was he the coach?
He was the coach. And I think it was a couple of years we were playing in Hampshire. And then...
It's a long time ago now. I can't remember.
Yeah. But
I remember 1 year.
From there, I mean, I hadn't seen you around the area, so like, I mean, just to let everyone know, how did you get into the game?
Mick Byrne was running a Sunday morning session at Fareham Leisure Centre, and I think he probably taught me to dribble the ball. What year was that? 1990, something like that. As an 11-year-old. My brother and Andy Luckett taught me to shoot the ball. Do you know these names?
Yeah, Andy Luckett. I think it was his dad that sponsored the Portsmouth FC
possibly.
basketball club.
Right, yeah.
The
Luckett's
Travel.
Yeah.
That's
Luckett's
right, yeah. So he and my brother were good friends, so that around that time Andy had a local league team. I can't remember the name of it, we just had Luckett's plastered across the front of the vest. And that's probably when I got my first number 12, that stuck with me throughout. Till today, I'm still number 12 for Portsmouth Smugglers. In my introduction, you said I was a former Portsmouth smuggler. I'm a current Portsmouth smuggler.
Oh, well, I was talking about National League, but yeah, so
Okay.
so you're still playing local league.
Fair enough.
I mean, I saw you at the finals a few months back.
That's right. Yeah, we played after your game.
Yeah, and I mean, handball, that was a tough game. They've got 4 National League players, haven't they? It's really so, or former, including
They've
Brian
got a full
Payne.
squad of almost ex-National League players. And
Yeah.
they've been the thorn in our side. I mean, there was a good decade where we dominated that local league, the Saba local league, and now it's all handball. And they keep me up at night, to be honest with you.
Well,
Much like the Solent Kestrels do to you.
yeah. Well, the Portsmouth Fury are entering Div 1 this coming season, so we'll see. The only thing we're looking at it going, we need to get current National League players to compete with everyone else. So that's what our focus is.
At local league.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're going to see if we can get a handful of National League players like Div 3 and go, let's see what happens. But
You're allowed to have 2 current National League players in a local league team?
Unless they're under 21.
Oh, really?
So you could have an entire National League team. I mean, look, Mickey Byrne got away with that for a long time. You remember local league? He would be playing a full National League team, local league. Remember that?
I don't remember details like that. No. I just remember winning all the time. It got old, to be honest with you.
Oh, such a hard life. Winning all the time. But you say about your tenure with the teams going back from when you started as number 12 with Luckett's on top.
Yes.
What was the next step from there? Take us through your basketball journey.
So playing for the Cams Hill School.
So where's that? That's in the States?
No, that's in Fareham.
Oh, okay.
So I'm a 15, 16-year-old now, and we're in Fareham still.
Okay.
And yeah, we just start winning most of our school games, and from there we joined. I say we from a very young age, from like the beginning of my career at school. I had a good friend, Matt Eames, who deserves a mention. Former Bucks champion and in Bucks finals MVP. He and I played together from school through to Fareham College. We won the Hampshire College Cup at Fareham College.
Wow.
And from there, we both went to play for Jimmy Guyman's. So we were playing for mixed junior team at the same time as playing for the college team and playing for Jimmy Guyman's men's Division 1 Solent Stars.
That's a lot of basketball. And look, Mark, I've got a stat for you that Steve, at this time, was 7th in the National League Div 1 for 3-point shooting. And I've got the stat here, 43.5% shooting percentage.
And that year is what,
96, 97.
That's right.
Pre-Steph Curry slinging up those threes. 96, 97, that's Steve Kerr. Influenced by the big Chicago boy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Never since have I had access to a practice facility as much as, when you're a young guy, if you want to be in the gym at college all day, you can be getting shots up, right? And it's only like in that, up until you're 18, when you leave college, you lose access to that.
Yeah.
So
how important was that foundational work and everything to build in your game? And the access that you had there?
I mean,
absolutely fundamental, yeah.
He had two great coaches there, like Mickey Byrne and Jimmy Guyman.
Steve Fitzsimmons at Fareham College as well. I don't know if you guys know his name.
So if you have those
former Solent Stars coach.
If you have those, say, three coaches there, all influencing you in different ways, how does that work? Do you take pieces from each coach, or does one coach say, I'll play a certain way, and they're like, no, I want you to play a different way? Or
no, they're all different. So what Mick managed to do was provide a team to play for that was free. I mean, Mick put his own money into these teams. So there would be, we're training twice a week with the junior squad and playing college games once a week, training with the college. Steve Fitzsimmons was a great strategist. So learning about different offensive strategies and things like this with Steve Fitzsimmons. And then Jimmy was a fantastic individual player coach. So the kind of things that he hammered home was, it's difficult to remember. He would run a Sunday session, and the kind of things that he would get you practicing on your own was next level. It was like borderline insanity, because you're in the gym by yourself, bouncing the ball off the wall to yourself, doing a post move, practicing these power moves in the post to kind of make your bucket and get your and one. But you're kind of spinning around. He's kind of playing offense and defense. When Jimmy Guyman was in the gym by himself, he's sort of playing offense and defense the whole time. It's borderline insanity. But the guy got drafted in the NBA, so if he tells you to do something, you do it. Pretty soon after that, I'm playing. When it permitted, Mick took us over to the Southampton program because he saw that we were getting Matt and I'm talking about Matt Eames again. We're kind of advancing, and Matt and I are playing against each other. So we're kind of like that Steve Jobs analogy where you put two stones in a rock tumbler or whatever, and they clean each other. We are competing against each other, so we're kind of pushing each other forward. Mick saw that we were kind of advancing quicker than anyone else, and he didn't want to hold us back, and he took us over to the Southampton program where we could excel in and get the opportunity to play for the men's team when it didn't conflict with the junior program schedule. I hope that answers your question. I've probably rambled a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing I just want to focus on Jimmy Guyman for a moment, because I don't think you have that solent kestrel juggernaut that you have without Jimmy.
No way.
A lot of the stuff he was doing is just in the background, isn't it? That maybe not a lot of people see, but it is that vital contribution, a bit like, you know, what Rob Milner's doing for the Portsmouth Force. It's that vital contribution that everything implodes if it's not being done.
Yeah, there's a lot to be said for a back office and any structure in a team. You know, you have your players, and then you have, I want to say, the logistics around a team. But there's always more that's added to the pot that's, you know, that makes it the community and makes it part of something more than, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Is there any way I can explain it?
And also just going on saying, Steve mentioned about Mickey Byrne, he did fund so much on his own, and it's funny looking back on it, because can you remember when we were playing National League, you'd be like, right, everyone's got to pay me, was it £20 a month or £50 a month, and no one ever did, but he didn't really push everyone, did he? Can you remember
That's
Leon?
the only year I remember him actually asking for any money, and it seems so alien.
He must have been spending $5,000 at least a season.
Yeah.
And I remember Leon Bailey turning up to one of the first training sessions with like £550 and went, there you go, Mick. And Mick made this speech about how amazing he was, what like an outstanding like contribution he was making with the right attitude. And then you got like half the other team like, there's no way I'm paying any money. I mean, it's funny and sad at the same time.
But it raises the point about how me, you, anyone who's played basketball in the local area has something to owe. We all owe Mick like a debt of gratitude that we'll never get the opportunity to pay, right?
Yeah,
Absolutely.
and I guess, well, and in your case, Jimmy as well, and some of these other coaches. What about? I mean, I know another major contributor. I'm confident for you. Definitely the basketball community around Southampton is Bev Guyman.
Yeah, absolutely. So, God, of that junior team that I'm talking about, without Bev's tireless effort, Bev just wanted to increase participation. She had a huge heart, and I just like personally what she managed to do for us. There was a group of us who went. It was Jimmy's contact over in Oklahoma who had his old university teammate who ran a summer league for like 6 weeks, and Bev put together, like, she was raising funds for us to be able to go over there, like to kind of subsidise the amount of money it was going to cost our families to send us there for 6 weeks. Bev was raising money. She was hosting fundraisers. She was, organising raffles and doing all sorts, contacting people. I think she even wrote to Michael Jordan. I don't know how she got an email address, right? But like
that. That's good.
That's a story. That's a fact. I remember that. But yeah, like, so she's bringing people together. She's bringing our families together. All those junior kids, right? We're all socialising together and trying to raise money. So like, yeah, without Bev, the journey's, my story's definitely very different. And
yeah, and I remember I think what a really big tribute I saw for Bev was, as she was fighting her battle and stuff like that, they had that not an all-star game, but all the old players coming together, and you had the likes of like Anning Cunningham, Mark Jackson, all those players coming together just to play for that, just let's fight cancer kind of thing.
That's it, yeah.
I just thought that was a fantastic tribute to her and everything, all those contributions that she's made to everyone throughout the years. I just thought that was really good. Even if you look back at the pictures now and you go, wow, look how many people came to watch that game.
The woman deserves a statue outside of Fleming Park Leisure Centre, in my opinion.
Wow. We should get that paperwork in. Get it in.
Fleming Park. We're going to get that
They
statue
should
up.
rename Fleming Park Bev Park.
It's a thought.
Bev's Park.
Who do we speak to about this?
But,
Calls will be made.
So this was the Solent Stars days then for you.
Yep.
And, at what point did that end with you going over to the States? And before you say that, and how did you get on? I mean, I know how you got on, but just let everyone know how you got on that in that Div 1 setup, because you went quite far that year.
As an individual, yeah, I don't want to talk about the wins and losses.
We want to break down on
you
every
can
game,
look that up in your
Every
own time.
play.
every play. Where did you go wrong here?
But you went quite far in the league, yeah?
No, not as a team. No,
The
Not-
Cup?
No, we had an American called Mike Sablowski, and we had players like Andy Luckett, Martin Dowdle,
Martin Dowdle.
Alex Byrne was even on that team.
All right.
And yeah, we really struggled in the league that year, to the point where Jimmy put his boots back on and came to play. He became player coach because he got so fed up with us losing. And the example, I've got stories to tell about Jimmy. He did a jab step and sent this defender flying, like half his age. I swear to God, on the elbow, jab step, from stationary position, single jab step, the defender goes flying, and he just hits a jump shot, wide open jump shot. Jimmy's 50 years old at this stage, is just mind blowing. One of my memories. We didn't do very well in the league that year, but as an individual, getting that Division 1 exposure as a 17, 18-year-old was absolutely priceless.
Yeah, I'd imagine, because that's setting the bar early, really early.
Yeah. It's so fast paced, it's so physical.
What sort of minutes were you getting?
I
when
was starting.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Ouch.
Yeah.
And so what?
So that's quite a jump to jump into at that point, at that age.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it was men's basketball.
Because that was men's basketball, wasn't it? I mean,
Yeah.
I'm just trying to sort of frame it for people who weren't aware. And it's like you mentioned Alan Cunningham, and some of the people who were playing there. This is the era where basketball was still, in brackets, non-contact, but in fact was
Very physical, yeah.
In Jimmy's words, basketball is a contact sport. Rugby is a collision sport.
Yeah, like that.
That's a nice way to put it, yeah.
Yeah.
And
like volleyball is a non-contact sport.
yes, yeah.
Yeah.
But we can get into it, but the game has changed so much now, and hopefully the new flop rules change all this. But we'll see about that. But the game that you were coming into at that age,
It's very physical.
very
Yeah.
physical game.
Yeah, very physical. And unforgiving, very unforgiving. I remember taking a jab. Jimmy's teaching us all these dirty tricks, right? So, like...
He's my kind of player.
Yeah.
Like you see Rodman winding other players up. Like,
Yep.
I'm not as sneaky as Rodman, but it's just very simple. If your defender, attacker, whatever, puts his hands on you, you can sort of seal his arm in between your arm and your chest, for example. And as soon as they start trying to free their own arm up, you sort of flop a little bit or shake your head back, and the referee looks over and very occasionally you'll get a foul for nothing. So I'm trying to do this against a guy at T's side, about some 7-foot dude, and I'm this scrawny 17-year-old kid, and he just jabs me in the head. And my gran came to watch that game. It was like,
Wow.
yeah, it's a very physical game, and Jimmy's throwing us in the deep end as well.
So you took that and went straight to the States off the back of that.
Yeah, again through Jimmy's contacts in America, managed to get a high school spot.
So what's the difference in the game? What was the difference in the game from here going to there?
It's from National League Div 1 to high school basketball.
So I'm trying to remember if we had the 24-second clock at this stage in the NBL Division 1. and I can't quite remember. But going into high school, there was no shot clock whatsoever.
So you could score,
You could just keep hold
get
of
the
it.
rebound, and just keep hold of it.
There was like a 5-second closely guarded rule.
Wow.
I think that exists today because I got called for it the other day
Oh, right.
in the summer league.
Well, we got a ref coming on, so we'll ask.
Yeah.
Oh,
But
that'd be interesting.
my understanding currently is that if you are closely guarded, not dribbling the ball, if you're holding onto the ball and you're closely guarded for 5 seconds.
Once you pick up your
it's a
dribble.
turnover.
Yes, once you pick up your dribble. Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
So over there, I'm going straight into the high school game. It's before you dribble, if you hold the ball for 5 seconds and you're closely guarded, it's a turnover. If you're then dribbling the ball, you've got 5 seconds closely guarded and then it's a turnover. Then if you pick up the ball, you've got 5 seconds closely guarded or it's a turnover. But other than that, you could hold the ball for an entire game in one, as long as you're over the half court,
So
theoretically.
So the half court applied, but other than that, you could just swing the ball and keep swinging the ball.
Yeah.
Wow.
And you could have one, yeah. So there's a bunch of different rules. And
What
that's
about
interesting in and of itself, in like the way that we impose a 24-second clock on youth basketball today, for example.
Yeah.
In America, they don't do that. Their youth learn to play without the shot clock, and they evolve differently. Their knowledge of the game, their evolution of the game is completely different as a result of that.
Does that change the pace of the game, do you think?
Yes,
For better or worse?
I would argue that there is a case for youth basketball not having a 24-second clock, for sure.
Wow. Oh, thoughts?
Well, we got some BE representatives coming on soon, so let's put it to them, see what they say.
What's your opinion?
I can see pros and cons, yeah, maybe remove the backcourt at least, the 8 seconds. That's one thing to do.
Maybe keeps the game moving a bit more, I guess, in a way.
Yeah.
Especially if they're not got that rule, but like you said, they've got the 5 seconds if someone's close to you, etc.
What is it at NCAA Div 1? I think they've had a 35-second shot clock at some point.
Everyone's looking at me. I don't know.
Actually, no
I don't
clue.
know.
I don't know if it's 24 seconds today.
I don't know.
I think it's a 30-second shot clock.
I think it could be 30 seconds. As soon as you said that, I thought 30 seconds was what my gut was. So high school then. So you were there and you graduated from there. But so I mean, what was that like going into that culture? Because over here we were just like, yeah, American basketball, brilliant. And then all of a sudden you're in American basketball. That must have been awesome.
It was awesome, and I'm going to say, like, today it's quite popular to do that. But like before I'd done it, I can only remember Alex Byrne and Mark Jackson who'd actually done it. I know Jason Colgan planned to go.
Did Matt Guyman do it?
Yeah,
Did he go?
He went after. Yeah, he was a little bit younger than me, so he went after.
Yeah, because Matt Guyman, it was me, you, and Matt Guyman playing for Hampshire. I remember that. That's how I knew Matt.
Matt Guyman was significantly younger than us.
Was he?
Yeah.
And maybe he was in the under. We were under 16. Maybe he was under 14s then.
I don't know how old he is. I'm thinking he's significantly younger than us.
Okay. So, but
Right.
you enjoyed the culture then?
Man, we went into Oklahoma, right? So it was cowboy country. It was incredibly racist. I'm going to just say it out loud. Like, it was the most racist place I've ever been to at the time. Yeah.
I genuinely do actually have a banjo just over here, but I can't be bothered to go get out and diddle.
So I've got classmates who've got cowboy hats, Stetson hats, big buckle, skin tight jeans, which at the time wasn't fashionable, cowboy boots. They kind of take cattle to market on the weekends and stuff. Like,
I mean, it's just
different.
like Pompey, isn't it?
Very different. to
Just like
Pompey.
Commercial Road. It's exactly the same thing. Down Commercial Road, go to Cascades. It's the same thing. Stetsons, skinny jeans.
Cheerlead, like, okay, so going back to the point, like, it's cheerleaders, it's like very different, but culturally it couldn't be further from the UK sort of.
And were you getting like with the
growing up
crowd and stuff like that?
Yeah, there's a big crowd. Games on a Saturday, everyone comes out to watch the games. Very competitive. Very supportive crowds, but obviously for the home teams. And there's a whole story about. Yeah, I guess I want to tell this.
Do it.
Right, so as a transfer student, you're not allowed to play the first 10 games of the season.
Wow.
Why is that?
It's just a rule by the Oklahoma Secondary Schools Athletic Association.
How many games do you get in a season then?
Should have been 24 or something
Okay.
like that. Perhaps a couple of tournaments with extra games.
But you're not allowed to play the first 10, and that's what, the state rule or the school rule?
That's the state rule.
I wonder if that's to stop someone becoming a student and them getting straight out the gate.
There's probably a good reason.
Yeah.
There's probably a good reason for it, right? So to stop abusing the transfer of students into schools just for the purpose of winning or whatever.
Yeah.
Right. So we had to endure that. Matt and I went. Matt Eames and myself both went to high school as a. Big thanks to Bev and Jimmy and Bev Guyman.
Oh, so you both went to the same school? Okay.
Yeah. And we're both living with the coach. And as far as we were concerned, we'd done everything correctly. We just so happened to be living with the coach. It wasn't that we'd broken many rules at this stage. We're just two young kids who want to play basketball, right? So we're disallowed to play the first 10 games. Then we play 14 games and we win 12 of them. And Matt and I are like scoring 12 points apiece. Matt's killing it on the boards. I'm shooting the lights out from the 3-point line. And we are headed, we're looking like we're in a good position to head into this state tournament. At some point, our coach got called into a fact-finding meeting with the Oklahoma Secondary Schools Athletic Association. And they pushed for us having been illegally recruited.
Wow.
And the only reason they got us on it, as I remember, was that our parents had contact with the coach before we went there. Like this was the spurious reason that we were given as to why it was illegal. Like as though your parents wouldn't want to know what the weather was like in this strange country. Like so they'd know how to dress, what clothes to send with their kids or whatever. So then we weren't allowed to play in the playoffs, and
What?
this really killed the momentum of our like, yeah, we're going to go to America. We're going to push this. We're going to get, we're going to get as good as we can, and we're going to push our talent as far as we can.
Yeah.
And it really extinguished the flames because college coaches come to the state tournament to recruit high school kids, and we weren't allowed to play in the state tournament.
Oh, jeez.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, there's politics right there, isn't
That
there?
was one of my questions coming up. Why did you consider going to college?
Yeah. So
But
there was
no one could
several-
watch you play.
There were several obstacles in the way of.
So what was
That
the reasoning?
sucks.
Just because?
I've just laid it out as best I can. Like
competitive advantage,
if
basically.
you ask Matt will tell you xenophobia. Matt will tell you that we were two British kids over there showing them how to play their own game, and
Jeez.
they didn't like it. Our coach even was like, all right, now boys, I'm not going to start you because there are some parents here who would be upset if I start you over these kids.
Oh wow!
Like,
So
'cause
it's
these kids
really
have
that
come in-
political.
These kids have been freshmen, sophomores, juniors, and now they're going to be seniors, and I can't their parents are going to be really upset if I start you over them. So yeah,
Wow.
There was that political in our own town. So if we're beating these other teams out of town, that's going to raise a lot of eyebrows and ruffle a lot of feathers.
Wow, so that was like a real kick then. So there was no way you could go to college basketball. There was no offers at that point because of you couldn't get.
There was no
scouts.
offers. There was no recruitment. No.
And this is late 90s. sort of
Yeah,
time.
98 I graduated high school. So
Jeez. I mean, I wonder if that'd be different now.
just to punch home, it's like to blow my own trumpet, I was shooting 48% from the 3-point line at that high school year.
Steph Curry shooting, Mark. Steph Curry shooting.
What's your percentage now, Steve?
Oh, I don't ask. I can't even see the hoop.
Well, we're going to
I
test
can't
that
even
in a
see the
bit.
hoop clearly these days.
I mean, I just had a thought there. How in the NBA at that time, how much of a European influence was there on the NBA? So we're talking late 90s. Had it kicked in yet?
Yeah, it was just starting to, because then you were talking about Parker, Manu Ginobili coming.
They were afterwards. They
were late, early 2000s.
The Lakers
weren't
guy, Divac. When was he?
Vladi Divac.
Vladi.
Who's that guy that gave Michael Jordan a tough time? There was the best. He might even be the best 3-point shooter of all time.
Not Parrot Gary.
No, there was also a Brit.
Oh,
there was a
not
Brit.
Detlef Schrempf.
No, he's another one though. But there was a British guy. Oh, I can't remember his name at the moment.
I remember the British guy who played for the Bulls.
Not John Amici.
Orlando Magic. Yeah, John Amici.
John Amici. I mean, if that happened now and there was raw talent, they would be taking it, wouldn't they?
Drazen Petrovic. Do you remember his name?
Drazen rings a bell.
But we are talking a handful of examples here.
Oh,
it's not the influence you've got now in the NBA.
No. Which is great now. If you see that, certainly in the last, say, even 2 or 3 years, when you're looking and you say, we've got French players, Slovakian players, players from Australia, Spanish players, African players. You've got players from everywhere.
It does feel like when you win the NBA, you are world champions now. Whereas if you go back to the 90s, I know they all were the best players, but it was very much we are world champions, but the world is only being played with American teams.
Well, I mean, there's a big argument with that, because if you're going to say that, then you'd say that all of the old Lakers or Boston trophies,
that's what I'm saying,
don't exist, because was it 76, was it 73 or 76, around that time, when the NBA as we know it was actually formed, and the ABA and the NBA, when they all came together.
Sorry, I wasn't listening.
No, I think
73 or 76 is around that time.
All right.
Yeah.
When the ABA and BBL or NBA and they all came together.
ABA and the NBA, yeah.
When they all came together, it was like in the 70s some point. But by that point, that's when the Lakers had won. They had their crazy red with the Celtics.
Red Auerbach.
I
Yeah.
don't know where you're going.
I mean...
But, if you're going to say that about international players, then you've got to invalidate. They've got 11 trophies.
Yeah.
Well,
but look, let's face it.
With what? 20 teams,
This is really controversial, what I'm going to say now.
Right.
If Steve Davison
Yep.
joined the NBA in the 60s,
Yep.
would we be talking to the greatest NBA player of the 60s?
No. I'm going to tell you right now.
If you watch how they bounced the ball in the 60s, you telling me Steve's not going to be up there?
Bob Cousy dribbling that thing around.
Hey, you bounce the ball better than Bob Cousy.
Pete Maravich. I'm going to be playing against Pete Maravich.
Hey, Pistol Pete.
And Jerry West.
So you're talking
70s?
The logo.
You're just talking just top 10 now.
Yeah, I mean, you are. What team, if you could have, at that time, what team would you have wanted to play for? If someone said you could play for them.
In the NBA?
Yeah, at that point.
This is like fantasy land.
Yes, love it. That's where I live, Steve. Who would it have been at that point? When you're in the States, you're in Oklahoma. I mean, they're following at that point. They didn't have the Thunder.
I can't remember.
That's 10 years before the Thunder got there.
Chicago Bulls were massive. And I'd have rather played with Michael Jordan than against him. So I'd probably say the Chicago Bulls.
That was the end of, that was just after their era, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So that was after 97.
I'm a big Boston fan. I'm a big
Celtics fan.
Well, going back a long time. I've been to Boston. I've been there, visited the Garden. My uncle lived there.
Yeah.
For a while. I've been out there to...
the original Garden?
I've been to the original Garden.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Have you been to many of the stadiums?
No. One. Boston Garden.
So the reason I say that is because you just raised something that we touched on a while back about the crowds at basketball games. And there has been a difference in the crowd. Recently, with the Force, with Paul trying to do some of the effects and trying to get the crowds used up and something.
Yeah.
You've experienced stuff like this, obviously, playing with bigger crowds as well. But what were the crowds like in the States? Quite interested.
And would they get that at the high school level? Would they get like the bands and stuff like that during the games?
Yeah, they would. There was a high school band that would have played. Yeah, so like a brass band, they would have had their kind of.
So this is standard.
Schools.
Yeah.
This is standard stuff in
because
in
it's entertaining, isn't it? It's you're going for an experience. You're not just going for I'm just going to go watch a game. You're going to watch the game, but everyone's there together, sort of thing.
Yes, and obviously, the band's made up of high school kids as well. So these are all your classmates and stuff as well. So it's all kind of connected, and the fans are largely made up of parents and ex-players.
Yep.
Teachers. It's only kind of a small town.
Did you get one of those jackets that you see in the films?
Yeah.
Yeah?
They
You
gave
still
us
got
one,
it?
Yeah. No, I got moths.
Ah.
I had to chuck it away. I kept the patches. I kept the leather patches off it.
Oh, okay.
But a bomber jacket. What's it called? A letter
Varsity jacket.
Varsity
a letter
jacket.
jacket or something
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah, they call it leather jacket, but varsity jacket. Yeah.
But I mean, I truly believe that, and I've said this on several podcasts now, that I think it was a general correlation. Like Steve came to some of the early games when the attendance was 100, and I don't think you came in the latter part of the season where we were getting 350 and we had the dun 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 during the game and all the razzmatazz and stuff, all the entertainment side of things that we built up. And
Razzmatazz.
you said that last time I said razzmatazz, but it felt like there was a direct correlation with what we were trying to do, like all together, and attendance going up. And I just look at that and go, if they did that all throughout the UK, I think basketball, it would be raised up. I think you'd get higher attendances around the UK.
Yeah,
I've only heard about it. So far it's myth and legend, but there are whispers in the streets about what you're doing at Portsmouth Force.
You're going to be coming to our
entertainment
next like our last friendly. Well, it's not going to be a friendly, is it? But
we're going to strap you to the firework cannon.
You're going to come to that. It's Portsmouth Force versus the Solent Kestrels. It's for the Mickey Byrne Cup.
Oh, there's a Mickey Byrne Cup.
There's a Mickey Byrne Cup because obviously, and again, we've talked about this before. Mick had so much influence in Portsmouth basketball and Southampton as well as around the UK. But more so Solent, that Solent City area. We just thought, you know what, if there's a Portsmouth versus Kestrels Cup and we do it annually and it's, the Mickey Byrne Trophy, the Mickey Byrne game.
This is excellent. This is excellent news. This was one of my ideas.
Which side are you cheering from?
Mick and his men.
Who are you going to cheer for, Steve? You've got a foot in both camps.
Well, he's got more of a foot in the Solent camp because he played basketball, I think, more for Solent than you.
The weather's been
did.
crazy lately.
No.
Hasn't it?
No, you're not having it. I'm not having it.
No, we'll come to that in a second. But the Mickey Byrne Cup, that's just a pre-season. It's a friendly.
It's a pre-season
sort of arrangement, or there's an actual trophy.
There's no such thing as a friendly, but it's going to be the last friendly before the season.
But it is an
every
official
year
annual thing with a trophy. Like the trophy's going to go back and forth.
I haven't
between Portsmouth.
Yeah,
and
I haven't seen the trophy, but yeah,
I haven't seen a picture of the trophy yet.
No, I've heard there is going to be a trophy, and yeah, it's going to go back and forth.
Amazing.
This sounds awesome.
Yeah, it sounds good.
That's good news.
And I've said to a few people, I really hope Mick's looking down, smiling, going, "You didn't spell my name right on that trophy." It's again, it is his legacy. We wouldn't probably be here talking if it wasn't for Mick Byrne.
No.
I don't think the Portsmouth Force would be there. Definitely not the Smugglers and the Pirates and all that. I can't speak on as far as the Solent stuff, but again, this is all Mick's legacy.
And the Portsmouth FC basketball club that existed back in the day, would that have been there without Mick?
Possibly.
Yeah.
Because I think, he was the head coach there for 4 or 5 years.
Yep.
It was a major influence. But I
think the important thing is that he kept it going, because at that time when it went and then it got sold off, but he kept basketball still going in the area when it quite easily could have just faded out. And by running the Saturday mornings and then the Monday nights and doing the Wednesdays and then organising all the trips, the youth teams right through to the seniors, and
Absolutely.
it was doing all of that.
He was just fanning the flames the entire time since then, wasn't he? Like,
But literally shouldering it all
yeah.
on that, which
It's
total
his,
respect.
it's his
for that.
life.
That was
his
it.
life.
Yeah,
And,
consumed him.
yeah, and a bit like what Steve Ware said, you know, you've got a at the funeral, you know, the basketball influence, you know, when you saw the pictures and stuff like that, it's just so evident. I mean, I think it's pretty clear that Mick touched a lot of our hearts, and we wouldn't be who we are without him. Wow, that just got really serious, didn't it? Really serious.
I mean, we also remember he's cantankerous, and you could guarantee that one person would get an absolute roasting in a session. It doesn't matter who it was, for whatever reason. Why are you opening your beer under the table? We can still hear it in the mic.
So in the Mickey Byrne episode, we recently did. I brought your name up, Steve, because I don't know if you remember, you know, in the Portsmouth Smugglers Day, I used to take that cooler and fill up with ice and we'd plug a 4-pack in it. I really enjoyed the away games, and you know, sometimes you were travelling, I don't know, 2, 3, 4 hours back from games. It was nice just to sit there after game and just have a few cheeky beers.
A bit of a social on the bus on the way back.
A bit of a social. But I remember you jumped on that train from me bringing on that call. I think there's a few others that jumped on it as well. But I do remember if we lost a game, Mick would be like, "Good hell, no one's having anything from that cooler," and you'd just be like, "All right, Mick, yeah, we don't deserve it." And then it's just that noise of you opening that can just makes me laugh, because I just remember 20 minutes into the journey home, you just get that noise, and you'd see Mick looking in the rear view mirror.
He probably wanted one.
Probably. So, Steve, like, I've known you for so long. You've never told me about the Oklahoma State story, but that is mental.
Thank you. Yeah, it's not many people know it, so I'm actually quite grateful to be able to put it out there.
Yeah, that is.
Put it on the record.
That is so political and controversial.
Yeah, that's really gutting to hear that you went through that, because, you know, from going from us being British basketball players, the goal to play basketball in America, even just on a playground, would have just been like, oh, can you imagine that? What would it be like? It's like it's bouncing the ball in a different country.
I don't understand that at all. It's like,
yeah, it's crazy.
You play to win. There's no way the coach on your team is like, I don't want these guys playing. I want to win the game. And then all of a sudden, their potential best 2 players, you got to sit down. It's like,
that is
what's going on. So you just come straight home then, and then went straight back into the Solent Stars?
No. So our coach took us around maybe a dozen universities to try out. So any universities that didn't have their full roster already and still had some scholarship money left over, you know, and I'm now one, or Matt and I are 2 of dozens, sometimes up to 50 kids who are vying for like 3 or 4 spots at each of these tryouts.
Oh wow.
And I managed to get a partial scholarship at one of them. We both got offered partial scholarships, and
what is a partial scholarship? What does that mean?
Like, well, you can have a full scholarship or a full ride.
Oh, you got to pay.
Yeah,
contribute
so I got
financially.
a partial subsidy of my university fees, my education fees. Do you understand?
Yeah. So, you just couldn't get the funds together to go over there?
Yeah, my parents were going to back me to. My parents did back me to stay over there.
Oh bloody hell! So what happened?
By this stage, I ended up on a university in the middle of nowhere, and with a coach for the first time in my life, with a coach who, instead of like putting his arm around my shoulder and saying, "Look, I need this from you, I need that from you," was what's his name? Do you know Bobby Knight, old Indiana University coach was an
Rings a
absolute
bell.
bully. He
Okay.
was like throwing chairs. Like mine wasn't as bad as that, but this guy's throwing chairs at his players and stuff like this. And just like, to me, it felt like, you know, I'm in the middle of nowhere. My dream is dead. I'm in a university that I didn't want to end up in. And I think the program started with about 18, 19 players on it. And one by one they start dropping out. And I'm in the best shape of my life, and I'm shooting the ball better than I've ever shot the ball. We're yet to play a single game. We're kind of doing at least two a days, like up and running at 5 a.m. And then we're kind of practicing 3 hours a day, doing individual work. There's all sorts of rules around doing team practice before a certain date. So we're just doing solid individual work for like 3 hours a day. But getting beasted and getting bullied and getting shouted at, and it's all I've never responded that well to coaches who treat me that way. And I think I was the 8th player to kind of walk in the office and say, I don't want this anymore. And that's how the story in America ended, pretty much.
Oh wow! I mean, you know what? If 8 players are walking in to a coach or whatever and saying, "I'm out," you know, that trend says something.
Yeah.
I mean,
So-
without being
I gave it the best shot I could. I really gave it everything I had, and
without being sort of I'm not saying not dark or defeatist down that route, but mentally, at the age you're at, you've just had that kick from Oklahoma, and then you go and you have that experience with the coaching, and then you're like, I'm just done.
Yeah, there's a lot of
you
brick
come-
walls thrown at you.
You come
isn't it?
home. Where's the love for basketball at that point? I'm just curious from that sort of standpoint.
Well, I'm thinking like I'm trying to figure out if the limited experience I'd had over there training with a team for, you know, like a semester before the season started, if that's enough for me to come back and get into a semi-professional or professional. You know, is that dream dead, or you know, I'm gonna start trying myself. I'm gonna start trying out with a couple of London teams and see how that goes. And unfortunately, the reality is I wasn't. I was still I've been in a weight program for a semester, so I was still fairly, you know, not physically strong enough, you know, to compete with even in the British league against men, experienced men, you know. So, the love, there's been a love-hate relationship, definitely, because something you devote yourself to, something you think is your refuge, something you think is going to provide for you in the future, you know, it's all like, I don't need to study, I'm going to be a professional basketball player, or like, you know, this doesn't. All I got to do is focus on basketball. All I got to do is continue doing what I've been doing up until this point. That's 3 hours in the gym a day by myself, shooting, working on the drills, running, and yeah.
And you're like 18, 19, around this sort of.
So by the time I walked into the coach's office, I must have had my 20th birthday.
Wow.
I think I transferred. From there, it wasn't over. I transferred to another American college. But by that stage, I'm just some kid who had a problem with a coach. So like, you know, the new coach that I've kind of gone
what
to.
What happened with the coach? Yeah, he'll be looking at a certain way, won't he?
This is some problem kid because he didn't get on with his former coach or something like that.
Yeah.
And, so there was that. I was there for a season. I kind of walked on. They call it a walk on when you don't get any scholarship money. So mum and dad are still kind of forking out for this. And there are other people, that I wouldn't, none of it would have been possible without them, you know, the support of mum and dad. From there, I tried to go to another college. From there, it was a Christian college. Which, you know, I'll only mention it because I'm a young man and I've come from the UK where you can drink at 18, and over there it's no beer in the dorms, no girls in the dorms, none of all these rules. You got to go to mass every day, and it's just like, what? Where have I ended up? Like, how have I ended up here? Like, You know, and I haven't seen my family for years at this point, and you know, we're quite a tight family. I hadn't seen my brothers; they've been off travelling. I have grandparents who passed away, and I've missed all of this.
And you know what? It goes all back that. I guess that butterfly effect was the Oklahoma State, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That's amazing. That is.
Yeah, that's. I can't get my head around that. That is. It just seems so ludicrous, but you know, we've got to think. As you say, you're in a town in Oklahoma, maybe not the broadest viewpoint of life that they had.
That is a fair comment.
And it's a lot of places in America, and I hope my American friends who are listening won't shoot me for this one. But
God bless America.
Yeah, hence why I said the shooting. But they openly would say that if you're in America, you're always looking out. You see the East Coast, or you see the West Coast. You don't often see past Boston or LA, you know, kind of respectively, or Seattle, wherever. So sometimes that, as you say, the xenophobia of here's some British kids coming over and
that's messed up.
and teaching us.
I can't say
our
that
game
it
in
was
brackets.
xenophobic. I just said if you ask my mate Matt, that is his version of events. Like,
Oh no, I'm just thinking there's a great argument for that. But either which way, it must have been for you developing at that point, just knowing what I'd have been like at that age group. If I'd have had any talent to be able to be in that position, to have gone to that point, I'm in America now. I'm at a college team. Blimey, I'd have been peeing my pants on that plane all the way over, thinking, "That's it. I've done it. I'm on that road to where I want to be."
oh man,
And then to have all of that happen, like just ding, ding, ding,
it's
ding.
knock.
That is,
yeah, it was. I'm getting this is the opportunity. I'm on the plane. I'm chasing the dream. This is happening. It's like unbelievable opportunity. And then
So that ends this episode of the Portsmouth Basketball Podcast. Part 2 of this interview will be coming out in 24 hours, so tune in for that one. Until then, wherever you are and whenever you're listening, we thank you so much for your support. Till then, bye-bye.